First, I want to tell you a little bit about the Brewers Association. We are the trade organization that represents over 2,400 small and independent craft brewers in the United States. For the purposes of our membership, we describe craft brewers as small and independent American-owned breweries. And to that end, the vast majority of breweries in the United States fit our definition. And currently, with our more than 2,400 brewery members, we're almost 80% of the breweries in the United States are our members. In the year 2013, our board of directors of the Brewers Association gave us an additional part of our mission, and that mission was to increase the market share of our members to 20% by the year 2020. That craft brewing is not a fad or a phenomena. We could actually take this slide and even go back farther in history and see slow, steady growth of craft brewing until recently. Trend towards premium brands is one of the things that's supporting and driving craft sales in the United States. We hear from a lot of folks, particularly in our distribution sector in the U.S., that they're predicting by the end of the 2020s that the high end of the beer market in the U.S. will be as much as 50% of the market. This slide really shows, how the beer industry in the U.S. has really undergone a big change. We start here at 1970, and in 1970, the United States beer market was dominated by various domestic products, what we call it. We're kind of lumping a lot of things together in that slide. What were called premium brands then, which would be your Budweiser, your Miller High Life, and your popular brands, the lower price brands. The gray here is light beer. And obviously, when light beer was introduced, it started to take market share away from the mainstream domestic products. And not a whole lot of change. Imports slowly increasing. Again, that maybe the roots of going towards the higher end there. But then you see the introduction of craft. It shows, that major shift in consumer preferences in the United States. The big thing that's really driving craft sales, in my opinion, in U.S. is really some things that are happening in demographics. The millennials, that is, the consumers in the United States that are 21 to 36 years old. Currently in the United States, that group of individuals is the largest generation of Americans ever. These consumers are looking for choices in their products. They're looking for authenticity, they're looking for variety. And so craft, again, is positioned perfectly to appeal to that new group of consumers. By 2020, that group will be over a third of the U.S. population. When I'm talking about craft market share, I'm talking about as a percentage of production volume. So what we have here is the actual historical growth of craft. Along the left side here, we have the actual market share, and of course on the bottom, years. And what we have found that if craft continues to have a growth rate of 11% annual, that we will hit 20% market share by 2020. If craft does indeed grow to 20% by 2020, that what we have here is domestic malt use, or what we're anticipating to be domestic malt use in the United States, and total malt use in the light brown, craft malt use in the dark brown, and craft use as a percentage on the dotted yellow line. So if we're at 20% by 2020, we're going to be approaching, craft is going to be approaching using half of the malt in that's produced in the United States. We see currently U.S. malting supply operating at about 95% of capacity. So if we're going to get to 2020, we'll actually see a 25% increase in demand for malt in the United States. This slide is so telling, and this is the number of breweries in the United States from 1978. So our malting structure in the United States was really, really designed to supply this type of environment in terms of breweries. You know, there's an opportunity, I believe, in malt in the United States to be able to present the consumer with additional varieties and stories about those varieties that will actually help sell beers and sell malts. And it's happened in hops, and it can happen in malts. And you know, the structure of the current malting structure of large operations, you know, just will not accommodate does not have the infrastructure to support a large amount of different varieties. Craft brewers would be better served by being able to pick and choose among barley varieties. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was kind of aware of that. Obviously, one of the biggest challenges they face is supply of barley. And you know, obviously that needs to be local. There are actually a lot of U.S. colleges, agricultural colleges, that are actually working on this for these craft maltsters. Michigan State, Cornell University, University of Virginia, University of Maryland are all actively pursuing new varieties of barley that may be able to grow in their regions. So, you know, my conclusion would be that malting in the United States needs to undergo the change that the brewing industry has undergone, you know, over the course of the last 30 years. And to really be able to supply a diverse supply of barley, we need new cultivated acreage. We need continued research in new varieties. We need to develop the sales infrastructure to support, you know, more communication and more contracting. And of course, we need large investment. So a pretty big bill to foot, but I also believe that there's also a lot of opportunity for everybody in the supply chain if we can communicate better and fulfill craft's needs.